Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Tuesday, December 18th, 2018. On this day in history in 1865, the 13th Amendment was enacted, abolishing slavery. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in light of the enactment of the 13th Amendment coming during the time of Saturnalia. We'll close out today's podcast with that discussion. Before we get there, just want to talk about what's going on in the news. From news to sports. Also, at the end of this, we're going to make a couple of phone calls. Call the NFL headquarters about the scripting of last night's Monday Night Football game, the Saints winning on Pope Francis's birthday by the numbers. See how that goes. I'm actually even going to call a local Catholic church and see if they'd let me come and present this information there. Want to know if their flock would appreciate this knowledge. They know what their old Pope's up to. So we'll see how that goes as well. Maybe I'll call a few Catholic churches in the area. So let's go through these headlines. Quite a few today. December 18th, the second day of Saturnalia. Martha McSally, who just lost her race against Kirsten Sinema in Arizona, has now been appointed to replace John McCain, who died August 25th earlier this year by the numbers, whose death was synced up with George Herbert Walker Bush's, just as I said it would be. So, why did this come today? Martha McSally, born March 22nd, how about that? 322, 52 years old, a good number for government. From her birthday to today is 271 days later. Number we talk about all the time, especially when it comes to Washington, D.C. and elected office. 271 is the 58th prime number. Again, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Washington 58, United States 58. Remember, George W. Bush equals 58, as well as the name Bush alone. When George W. Bush won with a big asterisk the election, he won it with 271 electoral votes after getting his brother's state, Jeb. So 271-58. We see this prime number relationship all the time. Martha McSally, March 22nd. Her name, Martha McSally, is also good for government too. Notice Martha McSally equals 47. She's 52 years old. Government 52 and 47. Authority 47 and 52. The big numbers in D.C. Just somehow, in case you never heard me say this before, maybe you're new here. Republican equals 47. Democrat 47. D.C., the letters are 47. White House is 47. President's 47. Trump's 47. Very special numbers here. Going to be in D.C. in April. First 2 weeks promoting the What is 47 campaign, among other things. It's time people know what's going on in this world. By the way, if you're not signed up for Gematria School, we did tackle the election before it came to be, and we said why Martha McSally would lose her race to Kirsten Sinema. Kirsten Sinema had all the numbers to win that election. And if you weren't following the election, at first Martha McSally did win, and I was surprised. But then all of a sudden, all these new votes came in out of nowhere, and Kirsten Sinema was the winner. And I said, see, she was destined for the seat. She had all the numbers. But Martha McSally, she gets a seat of her own now on the Senate. Today is also 115 days after the death of John McCain, who died by the numbers. Died August 25th. This news comes December 18th. Masonic 115. Killing equals 115 in the base cipher, as well as Jewish Gematria. A lot of people died in connection to that number, including JFK, dead on a date with 115 numerology. I noticed that in Jewish Gematria, the name Senator McSally, what she'll be called in D.C., also sums to 930. That's a bit like 93. And of course, this comes during the time of Saturnalia, where Saturn has that special gematria of 93, the number worshipped by the occult religion Thelema, credited to Aleister Crowley. So another headline today, Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn's sentencing. And the judge accepted his guilty plea but deferred his sentencing, so it didn't end up happening today. Michael Flynn was just recently given a birthday on the internet. For years, he hasn't had a birthday. But according to his birthday that's now out there, this news comes 13 days after his birthday. It's always been stated what year he was born in. That was all that was ever out there for his birthday, was that he was born in 1958. Again, the name Michael Flynn has Gematria 59 and 58, just like Freemasonry. Part of Trump's administration, the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election, Trump, who announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower and hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray for Inauguration Day. Again, that special number connected to Martha McSally today. Another headline, Trump administration officially bans bump stocks. Look at what number they bring up. This is synced up with the Las Vegas mass shooting of October 1st, 2017, a date that I told people to circle many months in advance. I said, we'll see the biggest false flag in the U.S. since 9/11, and that's exactly what it was. And the reason we knew that was because how Yom Kippur lined up with the numbers of Saturn. Yom Kippur is about judgment for your sins. Saturn has to do with death and judgment. There was a perfect alignment in 2017. And, you know, the date numerology tells all. And then we got the Las Vegas shooting in Sin City after Atonement for Your Sins Day by the numbers. And 58 was coded all over this incident beyond just the 58 people reported killed. And remember, for a moment, they bumped it up to 59 killed, and then they took it back to 58, but Freemasonry 58 and 59. From the date of the Vegas shooting to the date of this news, you know, the bump stocks now being banned. The Trump administration's been talking about doing this since the Vegas shooting, where the shooter supposedly used bump stocks. From that date to December 18th is 444 days later. How about that? 444. And what do we know about that number? In Sumerian Gematria, Masonics 444, so was killing. And again, 58's the big number with Freemasonry. Bump stocks, just in the 4-base ciphers, notice bump stocks has this synchronicity with gun control and Freemasonry. Bump stocks also 59, like Freemasonry. For a moment, it was 59 dead in the reporting. Another top headline today, Trump Foundation agrees to dissolve under court supervision. And more negative press for Donald Trump. From his birthday to today is 187 days later. And we know how big that number is to Washington, D.C. and Trump's campaign for presidency. It's also a span of 188 days, the big Bavarian Illuminati number. And on top of that, today has 48 date numerology. Donald Trump equals 48. Today's date also has 68 numerology. Donald John Trump equals 68. The Apprentice equals 68. So good day for more ritual shaming of Trump. More news by the numbers. Following that similar pattern, Trump orders creation of U.S. Space Command. This is also today, Tuesday, December 18th. Again, today has the 48 date numerology. U.S. Space Command, 48, perfect. Donald Trump, Freemason. Freemasonry controls the space program. U.S. Space Command also has that gematria of 147, like Freemason, like conspiracy. I got lazy on that list. Like outer space, whoops, when spelled correctly. Outer space has the gematria of 147. Spaceship, gematria of 147. It's just, it's a joke, you know? It's the same numbers again and again throughout history used by this gang so repetitively, you know? It's like if Freemasonry were graffiti artists, you know, instead of doing graffiti on walls everywhere with their signature, they're coding it in the numbers of the way they name things again and again. The little secret about English that most people don't know. If you want to go watch CNN's video, they'll tell you the future of kamikaze satellites. Don't buy it. Don't buy it for a moment. It's just another way to fleece we the people. tell us we're being taxed for one thing. Meanwhile, the money's being shipped off to, the mega bankers, Israel, everywhere but where we need it. Don't ever forget that your nation, and again, that's why we have to be distracted with all this nonsense every day, because, keeps us from remembering what's going on in the world. Every single day, we, the taxpayers, are sending over $10 million a day. It's probably a lot more than that, but still, over $10 million a day, every single day to Israel. I mean, just think about how insane that is. That is a tiny nation. Imagine if for a year we said, oh, you know what? We're going to save that 10 million. We're not going to send it to Israel this year. What we're going to do is we're going to do a 365-day project this year, and we're going to clean up 365 really depressed communities in the United States. We're going to do that this year. Actually, we're going to do it next year too. Sorry, Israel, you're going to get put on hold next year also. Because, I mean, how many communities really need it here in the United States? I would rather do that with the money than send it over to, the Nazi nation, Israel. And they really are the Nazi nation. I mean, look at what they do to the Palestinians. They've got them all living in an internment camp. They starve them, they bomb them, they thirst them, they cut off the water, the food. It's a terrorist state. We send over $10 million a day to a terrorist state. And here's another big and needy investment. The U.S. Space Command. I'm sure. After I did that post, another headline emerged. The border wall was back on the table. I said, of course, the wall's back on the table today. Today's got the 48-date numerology. Wall equals 48. Donald Trump, 48. Remember, he had his convention in Cleveland. Cleveland equals 48. LeBron James just won the championship the summer that Trump had his convention there. Those two men ended up in the White House to be congratulated on the same day. James equals 48. LeBron James around the same time got the hit TV show about the wall. Think about it. Wall, 48. Donald Trump, 48. Cleveland, 48. James, 48. Freemason, 48. Freemasonry controlling government, media, sports. It's not hard to see what's going on. Border wall also has Gematria of 61, the 18th prime. Here we are on December 18th. Border wall also has Gematria of 110 and 47, like president, like Trump, 47. Donald Trump announces the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the wall. Berlin Wall, 45. By the way, did you guys see the Dow Jones fell 508 points yesterday? We were talking about how the tanking market yesterday was again synced up with Trump's birthday. It was on his 187th day of his age. Big number there for Freemasonry, as is 58. Sure enough, the final count, the Dow was down 508 points. And what it made me think of is how, again, Trump had his convention at Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland. At that same time, Quicken Loans was running an advertisement that was on TV for over a year, long time for a TV ad, of Humpty Dumpty falling off his wall. Humpty Dumpty 58, like Trump, the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election. This news also came on the Pope's birthday. Catholic Church in the Septenary cipher is 58, like Pope Francis is 58. And just as a reminder, I've talked about this before, Trump went to the Jesuit school, Fordham. From his birthday to the Pope's birthday is a span of 187 days. Pope Francis is the first publicly Jesuit Pope. Their full name is the Society of Jesus 187. Remember how Trump visited the Pope by the numbers? Jesuit order equals 144. Trump and the Pope with Melania and Ivanka. Trump had that big evil grin on his face. Everybody else looked like somebody just died. That picture was from May 24th, the 144th day of the year. Jesuit order equals 144, the shortened name for the Society of Jesus. It's interesting that it's 6 months and 4 days, too. That's a bit like 64. Donald Trump graduated from Fordham University, or didn't graduate, but he stopped attending there after the year 64. That was 52 years before he became president-elect. Pope equals 52, government 52, authority 52, the cabal 52. Big number there as well. So anyway, Society of Jesus 187, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is 187. Last week or maybe it was 2 weeks ago now, time flies, we covered the overlap between the Jesuit motto and the 32nd degree motto of the Scottish Rite. A lot of overlap between these two things, the Jesuits and the Scottish Rite Freemasons. Again, Washington, D.C. used to be the Catholic colony, which is why it's between Virginia and Maryland. It's now the headquarters of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. By the way, yesterday, the day this happened, date with 47 numerology. Trump's 47, Vatican's 47, Francis's 47, government's 47, authorities 47. If you've ever seen the TV show House of Cards, the name of the president is Francis Underwood. Both Francis and Underwood sum to 47, like president, like White House. And again, collapsing markets, House of Cards, Trump card, mass mockery, ritual, puppets from here to there, from the White House to the Vatican. You can see through the script by knowing the code. Speaking of the market, Alan Greenspan, who is now 92 years old, approaching 93, he came out today and said investors should prepare for the worst. So these were his remarks today. He's saying next year looks really bad. There's no reason for growth. There's a lot of things unstable. What we've been talking about nonstop since about September now. Well, really what we've been talking about nonstop for, I don't know, since the day Trump was announced as 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. So that day, this is all symbolism for the planned demise of the market, the order out of chaos agenda, the order out of chaos candidate, Donald Trump. But we've really been on it since September, talking about the Economist cover and what's just up ahead. Remember, 2019, the word chaos equals 19. These are the order out of chaos people. It's how Masonry rolls. And again, he's talking about the market known as Wall Street. Don't forget, today has this 48 numerology like Wall, like Freemason, also like Illuminati. Freemasonry, the pursuit of light. Illuminati means in the light, illuminated. I was looking at Alan Greenspan's birthday, and right away that March 6th jumped out. That date can be written 3/6 or 6/3. In October, I was talking about the two biggest market collapses in history, how they came on dates with 36 and 63 numerology. So he's got a good birthday to talk about Wall Street. The name Greenspan also sums to 45 forwards and backwards. Notice Wall Street's 36, 45, and 63. You know, Trump's number 45, the Trump card, House of Cards. This news comes 41 weeks after Greenspan's birthday. USA 41, 41 the 13th prime. When you write out 13 as a word, it also sums to 45. So I guess that means it's 11 weeks to his, is that right? 11 weeks to his upcoming birthday? Guess what's 41 weeks after? It should be 11 weeks to his next birthday. The master number. So remember this, that Greenspan said this when he did. Comes during the time of Saturnalia. You know, Saturn has that Gematria in 93, his upcoming 93rd birthday. Donald Trump, when he had his GOP convention, it lasted 511 days. In Jewish Gematria, Saturn's 511. Again, Saturn has to do with judgment. I think when these people plan their demises on us, from collapsing towers to sinking markets, they see it as judgment. You know, I think they look at us and say, look, we gave you all the warnings. We gave you all the clues, magazine covers, decades in advance, predictive programming, you know, all sorts of riddles. You didn't pick up on the clues. I mean, most people here who are listening picked up on the clues, but notice, I mean, most people aren't here. 99% of humanity, well, 99.9999999% of humanity is not here. In case you didn't see the video I put out earlier today, Penny Marshall dead at 75. The news is today, December 18th. She died yesterday, Monday. Yesterday had the 67 date numerology, the big blood sacrifice number. Her name, Penny Marshall, equals 67. Carol Penny Marshall, her full name equals 86. Blood sacrifice, 67 and 86. We talked about this with the TV actor William Hathaway yesterday. His name equaled 67 and 86. His death was announced yesterday. The date of Penny Marshall's death, date also with 47 numerology, time equals 47. She died on the first day of Saturnalia. Saturn, the keeper of time, again connected to death and judgment. Not only did she die on this date with 67 numerology, but she died on her 64th day of her age on the 17th of the month. Kiel has the gematria of 17 and 64. First day of Saturnalia. They said the cause of death for Penny was diabetes. Diabetes, that's what they tell you. On December 17th, 12 plus 17 is 29, diabetes 29 in the most pure cipher, just like Penny. And as for her dying at age 75, she was a film director, directed many memorable films. I'm sure a lot of you know. Film director has this gematria 75. I was doing some research on her family to see if they were Catholic, and I guess her father is believed to have been Catholic, but he denied it. And the reason I was looking for that is because I knew that Catholic Church is 75, and she died on Pope Francis's birthday. So Jesuits, Masons, they got a lot of influence in the world of media and entertainment. I suspect somehow, some way, there's a Catholic connection here. You know, and again, you can go read what I read about her father running away from his supposed Catholic upbringing. Maybe you just can't really run away. Her name's also got some standout gematria, 158 and 59 in that name, Penny Marshall, like Freemasonry. So. CNN, when they put up their headline, they emphasized Laverne and Shirley. They emphasized A League of Their Own, and they emphasized Big. And I want to go over what's interesting about all three of these titles. A League of Their Own sums to 86, like her full name, like Blood Sacrifice. Laverne and Shirley sums to 74, like Masonic, like Killing, also like Penny. And it was just days ago we talked about the death of Sandra Locke and why she died the day she did and why it was announced the day before Clint Eastwood's movie came out. Clint Eastwood's new movie, The Mule. All the stories about her talked about how many movies she starred in with Clint Eastwood. You know, it's another number that shows up in these rituals. So if you missed my video on Sandra Locke, go back and check it out. There's a whole lot more to it. That was last Friday. We covered a lot of deaths. Friday was the date with the 44 and 64 numerology, the big kill numbers. Laverne and Shirley also sums to 79, like the word murder. You know, we recently talked about how George H.W. Bush died on a date with 79 numerology. That same day in history, Paul Walker had died 79 days after his birthday. Paul Walker's first film was about Skull and Bones, which George H.W. Bush was a member of. George H.W. Bush's buddy, David Rockefeller, died on the 79th day of the year. So it's a number that shows up all the time. We just talked about the death of this guy, the CEO of HQ Trivia. It was first reported he OD'd at age 35, but then the next day they said, oh, wait, he was actually just 34 years old. And what we pointed out is his name, or the name of his company, Trivia, had that gematria 79 like murder. And then he ended up being 34 years old. Trivia and murder as well, 34. So. Also, when I covered this guy's death, I wasn't able to find his birthday, but it came out later that his birthday is May 17th. This guy who died over the weekend, Mr. HQ Trivia, dead 213 days after his birthday, like death and satanic gematria. Another pattern that shows up from time to time. So, oh, for one more thing, the news comes on the 18th. Penny also has gematria of 61, the 18th prime. And one of the emphasized titles was her film with Tom Hanks, Big. Big. And look at Big in 3 of the 4 base ciphers. 18 in 3 of the 4 ciphers. The news on the 18th. So, par for the course. More examples of murder by numbers. 67, easily one of the most common numbers. if not the most common, in these murder by number rituals. You know, if I had to put 4 numbers up on the board for the ones that show up all the time, 38, 44, 67, definitely those 3. Then maybe 86. Some other numbers that show up like 74, 213 here and there, but 67 is just always hanging around. Again, when I started up this YouTube channel, number 18, there were a bunch of stories floating around in July about young people who had just died and all of their names summed to 67. That was one of the first videos I uploaded. Might actually be over on the Gematria Effect Sports channel, but it was one of the first videos I put up in July. Also, somebody let me know about this deaths in 2018 new Wikipedia page. It's actually very helpful. They're keeping up with all the deaths reported worldwide, posting them for each day. And imagine Penny Marshall's on here now. Yeah, there she is. So today has 68 date numerology. We have a dead director at age 68. Caskets go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long. Dead wrestler at age 44 from cancer. Cancer 44, chemo 44, kill 44. So check out that page. Just do a web search, type in deaths in 2018 wiki, it'll pop right up. Again, it is the time of Saturnalia. Saturnalia traditionally went from December 17th to December 23rd, but I see that a lot of people are now posting that it goes until Christmas, which is interesting. So, but again, Saturnalia, pagan festival, just like Christmas borrows from the pagan tradition, celebrating the winter solstice. Saturn has to do with time. The winter solstice, a special time where day starts to get longer each day till the summer solstice. And when you follow these murder by number patterns, every time the solstices come around, so do the deaths. If you're going out partying this year for New Year's Eve, I'd stay out of Utah. Utah's changing their law December 30th. They're lowering the blood alcohol content level to 0.05. When I was a child, it used to be 0.10. Then I forget when it was. Sometime in the 90s, I think it dropped to 0.08. Could have been the early 2000s. But 0.05, I mean, that is just a joke. That's like if you drink a beer. If you go out to a restaurant and drink a beer, you get pulled over, you will get a DUI. I mean, that's not right. They said that Utah already has like the highest per capita rate of DUI arrests, so it's only going to get worse. And that's what it's all about. This is just another way to super tax people, because when you get a DUI, I mean, it is a big tax. You make a lot of money for the state, for law offices, the courts. This is a joke. But with regards to 0.05, it made me think about how Utah is the only state with an ordinal gematria 50, just like America's 50. Sort of like 0.05. Mad Dog pointed out that drinking was 50. Great work, Mad Dog. Mad Dog doesn't sign up for the Patreon, but Mad Dog's been following my blog for about as long as anybody. All right. So just in case you missed the video on how last night's football game with the Saints on Pope Francis's birthday was synced up with Pope Francis, I'm just going to cover a little bit of this, but I'm going to call the NFL office here about this game, see if they can explain themselves. Maybe I can actually talk to somebody today. But notice the Saints improved to 12-2. Pope Francis equals 122 with the alphabetic order. Catholic equals 71. They tied their franchise best record of 7-1 away. And the ultimate kicker is it was Pope Francis's 82nd birthday. Saints with the alphabetic orders 82. Again, this is a good decode to show people, because all you have to use is the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. You don't have to use any other ciphers. Pope Francis is 122 using the alphabetic order. Catholic 71. Saints is 82. And if you want to break out the other ciphers, with the alphabetic order, you can show that the Panthers fell to 5-2. Pope equals 52 with the alphabetic order. So does the word 6. The Panthers lost their 6th straight on the Pope's birthday. But some other standout things. The score in the first half was 6-7. It was a 67 date numerology. Italy with the alphabetic order 67, where the Vatican is. With the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, North Carolina is 67, where the game is. And 67 is the 19th prime, which is what Saints equals with the alphabetic order and rules of numerology. Saints got their 12th win. First team to get to 12 wins. They did it with 12 points. Jesuit order is 144, having a square root of 12. New Orleans with the reverse alphabetic order is 144, so is Drew Brees. Anyway, when I call the NFL, I'll get into some of the finer details if they let me get that far. But if you missed last night's video, check it out, because everything about this box score is in tribute to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits and the date numerology and religion. And like I explained last night, the common link between the Catholic Church and sports is it's all mind control. It's all about controlling the minds of the masses. You know, sports are used to market all sorts of things, from alcohol and consumerism to the military. And that's just what they do. So, speaking of sports, somebody asked if I could look at this album that came out. Last year, the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl had everything to do with Meek Mill and his supposed release from jail. It was all just a big show, a big joke. It was all synced up with the Super Bowl. We were covering this a year ago. Somebody just said, hey, Zach, this guy put out an album November 30th called Championships. Championships. So I thought I'd look and just see how it syncs up this year. Mr. Meek Mill with the Super Bowl. Meek Mill equals 35. The Eagles won the Super Bowl last year on the 35th day of the year. This was released November 30th. Eagles equals 113, like how the date's 11/30, like how the Eagles just dropped the Rams to 11-3. As we said they would, it was the bet of the week. It paid 6-1. The date he released it was also a date with 79 numerology. The singular champion equals 79. It's also the 22nd prime number, 22 men on the football field, the master builder number. November 30th, the date can also be expressed 11 plus 30 is 41. The word Super Bowl equals 41. The Eagles won the Super Bowl last year with 41 points. From the date they won the Super Bowl last year to the release of this album is 317 days. That's the 66th prime number. Championships has Gematria of 66. From the release of this album to the upcoming Super Bowl is a span of 66 days. Or if you don't count the span, it's 65 days later. Philadelphia is 65. He's a Philadelphia rapper. He's a big Eagles fan. The album clearly has Eagles colors. This doesn't mean the Eagles are going to win another championship. I'll remind people that at the same time last year, there was a story put out by the NFL about how Matt Ryan was expecting twins, and it was perfectly synced up with the Super Bowl, and it made a lot of people think that my Eagles pick was wrong, and the Falcons would go to back-to-back championships, kind of like twins. You have to remember, the mainstream media is on to what we're doing. It's become very clear in the last couple of years that they're putting out stories. They're doing these things to throw us off course. You know, we talked about that with the World Series this year, how they scheduled a game on November 4th in the NFL that could have been the same two cities to meet in the 114th World Series. And I said, I think that's a trap right there. I don't think that's going to be it. And it wasn't. So they know how we're decoding. We've obviously had an impact. You know, mainstream media has recognized us. And we've got to be careful of the clues that float out there now, because they're sometimes fool's gold, if you know what I mean. That said, do the Eagles sneak in the playoffs? Talked about that last night if you didn't watch the NFL Week 15 in review. Just another example of sports news by the numbers. Bleacher Report writes today why the Yankees should break the luxury tax and pay $197 million. Or why Stars worth Yankees breaking $197 million luxury tax. 197 is the 45th prime number. Major League equals 45. 45 is the 9th triangular number, like 9 innings in baseball. And remember, when you write out 13, it equals 45 as well. Manny Machado joined the LA Dodgers 13 days from his birthday. LA equals 13. His name's Manny Machado, MM, M the 13th letter. Again, you learn this code, you see all the riddles and why the numbers are that they are, from news to sports to government. It's the same stuff day after day. We covered Alex Smith's injury very thoroughly. Apparently, he's been in the hospital all this time because his broken leg got infected, and he just got released Sunday. How nice, on the day they play football games. So check this out. I'm trying to make this picture in the background. What's this about? What is this back here? But anyway, from the day he got injured, which was week 11, remember it was November 18th, the 322nd day of the year. He had the guy with the 322 birthday on top of him. Big, huge numerological riddle. But from the day he got hurt to the day he got released was a span of 29 days. Football equals 29. 29 in numerology is 2 plus 9 is 11. When you add 1 through 11 together, it equals 66. He got released on a date with 66 numerology. His first and his last name have Gematria 66. Alex and Smith. And remember, 66, the 11th triangular number. Football, a game of 11 on 11. He got injured in week 11. He wears the number 11. Also, as a reminder, in Jewish Gematria, NFL equals 66, and the first Super Bowl was in the 66 season, not by accident. So anyway, it's all riddle. This facial expression's curious here. Doesn't look like he's in too much pain. Some people think that the injury is a fake and they just did some video editing in the replays that they showed 1,000 times. Possible. It's completely possible at this day and age. Something's up with the whole thing. If you missed my work on Alex Smith's injury, you really got to go back and watch it. It's amazing how perfectly coordinated it was with history. 33 years to the day, Joe Theismann had broken his leg. Exact same ritual, exact same numbers. It's mind-boggling, really. All right, so last thing I want to talk about before calling the NFL office and the local Catholic churches to see if I can come teach at the church is what happened today in history. The 13th Amendment was enacted on the day leaving 13 days left in the year. And again, said it many times, from the beginning of this country up to the present, they've done everything by the numbers. It was enacted by the Secretary of State, William S. Seward. He made the announcement. Remember the symbolism of 13 to this nation. USA with the alphabetic order equals 41, the 13th prime. This nation began with 13 colonies, 13 stripes. The Bavarian Illuminati was established just before the American Revolution with 13 families. What else is interesting about this happening the day it did? December 18th, 1865 was a date with 113 numerology. United States equals 113. If you missed my work on how the United States was named on September 9th, the day leaving 113 days left in the year, you should go back and check that out. 99, the United States of America equals 99. When you write out 13, it equals 99. And again, that day also leaves 113 days left in the year. The word slave, when you use the reverse alphabetic order with numerology, does sum to 31, which is the reflection of 13. Sort of interesting. This man's name, William H. Seward, doing the middle initial thing, has Gematria of 157, the 37th prime number. United States equals 157. With regards to 157 being the 37th prime, Americans 37. William H. Seward also sums to 311, 113 in reverse. The letter U is the 21st letter. The numerology of U is 2 plus 1 is 3. S is the 19th letter. 19 breaks down to 1 in numerology. A is 1. USA 311. 311 is also the 64th prime. American is 64 as well. And the other thing about his name, William H. Seward, is it has this gematria of 221, like how the Bavarian Illuminati equals 221, established with 13 families. So, thought that was very interesting. I noticed in history, or before I get to that point, his full name, William Henry Seward, has gematria of 93, like Saturn, and this announcement came during the time of Saturnalia. The announcement was 216 days after his 64th birthday. Remember, we were just talking about how his name has the 311 connection, the 64th prime. The synagogue of Satan equals 64. 216, the product of 6 times 6 times 6, the number of the beast. I'd say we're all slaves to the beast system. Also, when this man died later in history, he died 147 days after his birthday. Familiar numbers. But coming back to this point about his full name equaling 93 like Saturn and this enactment during the time of Saturnalia, in the Roman times, this was a festival where they would treat their slaves better than normal. They would let them play games they normally couldn't play. They'd let them eat at the dinner table. I was just thinking about that. I was like, Saturnalia, a time when you were nicer to the slaves. And then they abolish slavery, the 13th Amendment, and then they install the central bank shortly after and make us all a bunch of debt slaves. You know, slaves to this monetary system, to this tyrannical government. To me, it looks like another sick joke by the numbers, you know? So, anyway. Oh, yeah. The other thing about 13 and Saturn is 13 is the 6th prime number, and Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun. So I thought that might be another part of the riddle with 13 and the day leaving 13 days left in the year. Mankind made on the 6th day in the Bible. All of us enslaved to this agenda. Let me switch gears here and call up the league office. We got things to talk about again. So call in New York, 212-450-2000. Sometimes I think I should just move to New York. That's where all the action is. Just go knock on the door today.
Happy holidays. Thank you for calling National Football League. How may I help you?
Yes, I would like to talk to who's ever in charge of, public relations for Monday Night Football. You got somebody like that there?
Sure, one moment.
Sorry, Morgan Driossi is not available. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hey, Morgan. Thanks for listening to my call. Be sure to say hello to Robert Roberts. Want to talk to you about Monday Night Football. That was real nice what you guys did this week. Earlier this year, you had the Catholic saints genociding the natives on Christopher Columbus Day, who was paid for by the Catholic Church to sail. Then on Pope Francis's 82nd birthday, you have the Saints become the first team to reach 12-2, winning with 12 points. That big controversy at the goal line with 1:44 on the clock, kind of like how 144 is the square root of 12. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could call me back. Why do you guys continue to mock the people of the world with these rigged sports games? As I've educated my audience, Pope Francis equals 122. Just taking the alphabetic order. P's the 16th letter, O's the 15th, P's the 16th, E's the 5th. Pope alone equals 52, like how the Panthers fell to 5-2. When you write out 6, it equals 52, like how they lost 6 straight. But Pope Francis 122, the Saints 12-2. When you write out Saints, S is the 19th letter, A is the 1st, I is the 9th, N is the 14th, T is the 20th, S the 19th. Saints is 82. I mean, come on. The Saints, 82, winning, becoming 12-2 on Pope Francis's 82nd birthday. This stuff's a joke. This stuff's a joke. And what do you think is going to happen, Morgan, when enough people find out? What do you think is going to happen? You guys are banking on they're not going to find out, huh? You're banking on the fact people aren't going to find out, and they're going to keep filling up those stadium seats, paying for those overpriced tickets, paying for those overpriced hot dogs? We'll see, Morgan. I'm betting on it's not going to happen. This word's going to get out. I'd like for you to give me a call back and let me know why you keep mocking your fan base. Why do you guys do this to them? What's it about, Morgan? What do you guys get out of it? I got to know. The number's 509-731-0567. Again, 509-731-0567. And when you do call back, you got to tell me how you get these stats so perfect. Drew Brees with net 191 passing yards, like how Society of Jesus equals 191, as in the Jesuit order, which Pope Francis is a part of. So is probably Drew Brees and Sean Payton, maybe even you yourself. You got to tell me. Cam Newton and McCaffrey with net 149 passing yards, the 35th prime, like how Catholics also 35, like how Drew Brees had 35 passes, like how JFK, the only Catholic president, number 35. I liked all the top rushers and receivers with 67 yards, too, on the date with 67 numerology. I'm sure you know Italy's 67. North Carolina 67, the 19th prime. Another big number there with the Saints. I don't got to tell you about it. I'm sure you remember Genocide Game on Christopher Columbus Day where the Redskins went down to the Saints with 19 points. 43-19, 62 points on the board. Genocide 62. And who had the big play that game? The wide open receiver with the 7-1 birthday, like Catholic 71. Could go on all day. Oh, yeah, nice tribute there with the score of 6-7 at halftime on the date with 67 numerology. I'm telling you, the days are numbered of getting away with this madness. Oh, yeah, nice call on head ref from number 99. Did a good job out there, number 99 in the 99th NFL season. Drew Brees, 99, number 9, Battle of New Orleans. We know what you guys got going on. War of 1812, first game of the season, 18-12. We know what you're up to. National anthem, national mockery. So, anyway, give me a call back one more time. That number is 509-731-0567. I'm also looking for a job there on the NFL Network. I'd love to have a weekly segment letting the fans know what's what. Let me know. All right, until next time. They never pick up at the NFL HQ. It's just always the voicemail. I hate that. Let me try calling them one more time. I want to talk to somebody. I'm going to see if she can connect me to somebody who will actually pick up the phone. These voicemail recordings, they get depressing. Let's try one more.
Happy holidays. Thank you for calling National Football League. How may I help you?
I really like how you say happy holidays. Thank you. I just called in and I asked if I could be connected to the public relations person for Monday Night Football, but nobody picked up. Is there anybody you could connect me to that I could just talk to right now, just so I have a voice to respond to what I'm saying?
One moment.
Sorry, Lily Bloom is not available. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hey, Willie, this is Pope Francis calling. Just want to say thank you for the tribute last night on Monday Night Football. I love the Saints getting the big win on my birthday. We love the Gematria out here. Saints equals 82. I'm 82. Saints are 12-2. Pope Francis equals 122. They're 7-1 on the road. Catholic equals 71. We love it out here. Give me a call back. You know where I am. Vatican all day. Until next time. Well, Willie doesn't pick up either. I'm pretty sure nobody works at the NFL headquarters besides the receptionist. Let's call the local Catholic church. Maybe they'll be interested. I'm telling you, if this happens, I'm going to go here and make a movie. We're going to do a video documentary educating the Catholics in real time. I probably need somebody who can speak Spanish. This area I live in, everybody's Hispanic. You have to learn another language. Let's see here.
St. Joseph Church. This is Anna.
Yes. Could I talk to the priest?
No, he's not available. Do you want to leave a message?
I would love to leave a message.
One moment. Father Felipe Pulido.
To leave a message, press 1. To have the person paged, press 2. For other options,
Hello, you have reached the personal voicemail of Father Felipe. I am currently either on my telephone or away from my desk. You may leave me a detailed message along with your name and a telephone number where you can be reached, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Hola, soy el Padre Felipe. Ahorita no estoy en la oficina, pero me puedes dejar un mensaje y te regresaré la llamada en cuanto me sea posible. Que Dios te bendiga. God bless. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.
Hola, Father Felipe. I live in your community and I'm interested in educating the people who attend your church about this secret code within the English language. It's called Gematria. Maybe you've heard of it. Yesterday, December 17th, was Pope Francis's birthday. I'm sure you know that. He turned 82. And you might have noticed that Monday Night Football in the National Football League was the New Orleans Saints playing. The Saints. You know about saints in the Catholic Church. You're the father. If you take the English alphabetic order and you turn it into numbers, it's old spiritual practice. It comes from Kabbalah. If you make A1, B2, C3, D4 up to Z, the 26th letter, if you just take that alphabetic order, turn each letter into a number, and you write out saints, it sums to 82, like how they won on Pope Francis's 82nd birthday. And not only that, but they improved to 12 and 2, kind of like 122. If you write out Pope Francis, it equals 122. And I encourage you to try this out. And you'll notice the Saints became 7 and 1 on the road, a franchise record. If you write out the word Catholic, it equals 71. You'll notice the opposing team fell to 5 and 2 at home and lost 6 straight. If you write out the word Pope, it sums to 52. If you write out the word devil, it sums to 52. If you write out the number 6, part of that 666 chain, 6 has that gematria of 52. And the thing is, every single day, every action by the Pope, it's dictated by this code. Like how he's the 266th Pope and he showed up in the U.S. on the 266th day of the year. Tell you a whole lot more, Father. I would love to come to your church and educate the people who partake there about this knowledge and how it can help them.
The recording limit. The message has been sent.
Welcome to St. Joseph.
Well, I got enough in. Let's try one more. Well, maybe I'll try 2 more Catholic churches. Maybe we'll get to talk to a father yet today. I suspect they're all very native Hispanic speakers here in this town. Let's see.
Holy Family, this is Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. Is it possible to speak to the priest today?
No, Father's not in. He has appointment. Can I take a message?
Yes, you could. And
Okay.
I'd really like to talk to him and possibly come into his church and educate the people who attend there about what's going on with Pope Francis, the figurehead of your church. Would you like to know more?
That would go to the bishop's office, and I can give you their phone number.
Well, what's wrong with just educating the people there at your church?
that goes through the bishop's office.
I see. There's a hierarchy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll take the bishop's office number.
Okay, it's 965
I see.
7177.
7177,
Uh-huh.
and that's 509.
509. Uh-huh.
Just make sure I got it. 509-965-7177.
7117.
Oh, okay. Got dyslexic there with my ones and sevens.
7117.
Perfect.
Uh-huh.
Got it. All right. Thank you so
You
much.
can ask for Father or Monsignor Seiler.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye. All right. Let's try it out. So there's a hierarchy. It's like the military. You can only do that if the bishop approves it. That's how they maintain the order. Gotta maintain the flock. Let's see here.
Yakima Diocese, this is Jose. How can I help you?
Yes, is this the bishop's office?
Yes, it is. How can I help you?
Perfect. So I just called Holy Family Catholic Church. They're in my neighborhood, and I wanted to see if I could stop by there and give an education lesson on something that I think all good Catholics should know. And they told me that for me to be able to come by and give this lesson, I needed approval from the bishop's office. So are you the person to talk to?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah. So you could start off by sending me an email with some of your information about yourself and what you plan on presenting.
Okay. Could
and
I
then
just
we can just go
could
from
I just tell you over the phone? It won't take but 2 minutes.
No, unfortunately, no. We do have to have some sort of paper trail to go along with something like this.
Well, how about I talk to you about it, and then if you say okay, I'll write you an email too.
I actually would not be the person to either approve or not approve. I would just route that to the correct person, or I can send you to a different voicemail for somebody who is not here, Monsignor Seiler, and you could leave him a voicemail and he can get back to you.
Okay, I'll just send an email. What's the email address?
You could send that to Jose.
Jose? Hello? Hello? Jose? Are you still there? I seem to have lost you.
Hi, sorry, are you there?
Yeah, so you were telling me the email address. It was Jose, and then it disconnected.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Jose, and then dot ARMENTA.
A-R-M?
Yeah, ENTA.
Armente. Jose Armente?
Yeah, with an A at the end there, and then at yakimadiocese.org.
I have to look up the spelling on diocese. Okay, Armente with an A at the end. So ARMENTA?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. yakimadiocese.org.
Yep.
All right. All right, I appreciate it. I'll send the email. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I'll be on the lookout. Thank you.
All right, bye. Everyone needs a paper trail, huh? All right. Well, I'm going to see if I can make that happen. I would love to see if one of these churches would let me come and educate their people on what their response would be, because I got all sorts of things to show about Pope Francis. But anyway, we're at the 1 hour mark. Let's open up the phone lines. See if anybody wants to call in today. 509-731-0567. Getting that number to call in. Let me check the chat. I'll post it in there. It's 509-731-0567. Some guy just texted me and said, I just won $6K on your Eagles pick. Thank you so much. Wow, $6K. That must mean he bet $1,000. All right, hold on. How do I get in this chat here? Sometimes I forget. Well, Lake and I already pretty much put up my pick for the Lakers game. I mean, did you watch the last video? I said who I thought would win. So I'll just say I'm in agreement with you. Okay, I can't lose this email address. Hold on. I gotta copy this. All right, maybe we don't have any callers today. That's okay if we don't. We're at the 1 hour mark. We can always wrap it up here. Be back tomorrow. There's always more to talk about. Congrats, Alexander. Happy for all of you who won this weekend. Those Seahawks were the only sour point in the picks. Should have seen that deeper riddle with that Philadelphia jersey number in San Francisco. And that referee's back. I think that's a good sign for the Eagles. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. Be back tomorrow. Remember, Gematria School is on pause, so there's not a new Gematria School lesson tonight, but all of the Gematria School lessons are archived 1 through 9. Be sure to watch those. They're all important, especially the first one. And you just got to scroll a little bit down the top page. I'll tell you what, I'll repost the Gematria School episodes right after I get off here. So at the top of the page, if you've signed up recently and you're at the $11 tier, there's also a link to download the book in case you don't have it yet. So thinking about what the next thing will be. I guess the next thing for Patreon will be tomorrow, Wednesday, the next podcast covering whatever they throw at us next. Yeah, the refs are key, absolutely. All right, truth seekers, until next time.